Hi there, committee members, members of the public. My name is Tatiana Arnaud, and I'm your city engineer. I am here to present the Senate bill, or otherwise known as SB1, Road Maintenance Rehabilitation Account, or otherwise known as RMRA, funding and project list for fiscal year 2021-2022. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend the City Council adopt a resolution to first adopt the fiscal year 2021-2022 project list of SB1 proposed projects, which will be funded in part or solely with the road maintenance and rehabilitation account revenues. And second, to authorize the city manager to take whatever actions are necessary and appropriate to carry out the purpose and intent of the resolution. So a little bit of background on Senate Bill 1, specifically in regards to RMRA. So in April of 2017, the governor signed SB 1 into law, which is also known as the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. What SB 1 does is it increased fuel taxes and vehicle registration to provide the state an estimated $5.4 billion annually to fix our roadways here in the state of California. SB 1 is distributed through several programs, including this one, the RMRA program. What RMRA does is it provides us with a monthly funding on a per capita basis. So this is why it was so critical that we capture everybody in this last census update, because that is directly correlated to how much revenue we get through RMRA to fix our roads. This may only be used for road maintenance and rehabilitation. This funding cannot be used on anything that is not for this purpose and this purpose alone. And it's for any pavement condition index of 79 or below. Just to note, we are currently at a pavement condition index of around 63. Now with the new roads that are getting done since the recording of this presentation, we're closer to 64, but we're in that range right now. The CTC requires agencies to adopt a resolution listing the projects that will be utilizing RMRA. So that's our purpose here today. So here's actually some examples of some projects that have been completed in the past using RMRA funding. This was in the commercial auto center area. As you can tell here from this picture, it's adjacent to the freeway. There's a large auto center sign there in front of you, just for reference. We also actually completed Esplanade Drive using RMRA funding. That was another project of note. I know that that impacted quite a few people in the community who have a tendency to go and visit the commercial areas down Esplanade Road or Esplanade Drive. So basically, CALTRANS has a mapping database. Here's a snapshot of that, and it kind of shows you how many projects have been completed, what the total funds for that were, and what fiscal years those projects were completed and whatnot. So this is something that's actually available to the public, and the link to that can be provided to anybody who would like that. We are happy to assist with that. Now getting into the discussion of what we're trying to do here for fiscal year 21-22, basically we're requesting $3.8 million be allocated specifically to neighborhood street resurfacing. So this will be covering, for right now, what we anticipate the Rice Avenue commercial area neighborhood street resurfacing. About $2 million will be going towards the Public Works Road and Signal Maintenance Project, which will be primarily accessed by our Streets Division as they do any sort of repair or rehab work that qualifies under RMRA. They'll be charging their staff time and any procurement of materials and things of that nature through this project here. Again, it's only for those qualifying expenses. Then we also have arterial street resurfacing in the amount of just under $3 million that we're allocating to that. Right now, we anticipate doing Gonzales Road, East and West, as well as Teal Club Road with that funding. And then we are also asking for $186,000 for our annual payment system upgrade. This is something that we ask for on an annual basis to just make sure that our payment management system is always up to date. So this brings us to a grand total of $9 million that we would be allocating through RMRA funding. So we are responsible for the road and maintenance rehab of 448 centerline miles, another 70 miles of alleys, and 61 parking lots total. I just want to note that RMRA can only be used on street miles. Alley miles and parking lots do not qualify for RMRA use. So those will not be funded through RMRA. Again, here's the latest PCI report as of the recording of this presentation. It kind of goes back to what we've spoken of before. So we do street inspections on a 3-year rotation. Pavement Engineering Inc. is our consultant that assists us with this. We basically do a third of the residential and collector streets each year, and we do 100% of all our arterials road every year. And basically, we use the system to track our inventory, store work history, estimate costs. We also identify candidate streets for potential repair and maintenance through this system. So PEI uses a variety of measurements to actually determine the pavement condition index, which includes how many cracks there are in a mile of pavement, how deep and long those cracks are, what the pattern of those cracks are, and what percentage of a road segment displays deficiencies. That's kind of, all of these things are factored into coming up with that pavement condition index factor. And some of the crack and deficiency patterns may include alligator cracking, block cracking, longitudinal cracking, transverse cracking, things of that nature. So basically, these patterns and percentages of the roadway segments are entered into the StreetSaver database, and then basically it spits out a PCI for us, and that's basically what we're using as the basis of our PCI. Information is used to determine the most cost-effective repair strategy. So basically, you look at the cost of the repair plus the life expectancy, and then that's how you get your annual maintenance costs. And we try to time the repairs to minimize the deferred maintenance. Now, we haven't been successful in the past with this just due to severe lack of funding, but hopefully now with some additional revenue streams that we may have access to, we'll catch up to that, so we won't be in that state anymore. But the idea is we'd be using this payment management system to assist us with achieving those goals of getting to an average PCI that the city is striving towards. So basically, what we aim to do is not spend more than what is necessary on an annual basis on road maintenance. That's important. So the better condition we maintain our streets, and the less it'll cost to rehab those streets. If we let our streets get down too far down on the PCI index or the pavement condition index, then that just means it's going to cost that much more to get it back up to where we want them to be. So we basically take all of this information that PEI provides us with, and we consider, how the timing of these street repairs match with pipe replacement needs. And so you guys have seen us do a lot of repairs over in several neighborhoods with our cast iron pipe replacements and things like that. And you'll see that we're following a lot of those cast iron pipe replacement projects with street resurfacing. So that was something that was taken into consideration as we were trying to schedule these projects out. We also consider how the streets can be grouped to maximize cost effectiveness and efficiency across the board. So we try not to put out small projects at a time to bid. We try to basically group them into as large a project we can manage at one given time. And we do this to get basically order of magnitude savings, right? The larger the project, the more savings there are across the board. And so then we use these analyses to create what we call our pavement management program. And then we subsequently then take that pavement management program and the listing of those projects and then the priority that we set them in based on these two factors here, and recommend certain projects for use of RMRA funding. Again, another snapshot that comes with our reports that PEI provides regarding our pavement condition index. So this run date on this one was December 31st. That's why I'm saying now that we have Rice, Rose, and Saviors resurfaced substantially at this point, we anticipate that this PCI is probably going to be a little bit higher now. So as far as the financial impact goes, the recommended action and resolution fulfills our state requirements and does not actually appropriate funds through this item. So this is basically what we're asking the state to acknowledge, that we're going to be setting aside this RMRA funding to these particular projects. So the neighborhood street resurfacing in the amount of 3.8 million, the 2 million for our streets crew, the 3 million approximately for the arterial streets that I mentioned earlier, and then of course the annual pavement system upgrade as well. That does conclude my presentation. I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.